All right. Welcome everyone to the June 4th, 2024 Northampton Urban Forestry Commission meeting. We only have one member of the public still. Kent, you're it, but you can say something now or say something later. It's okay with me.
No comments now.
Okay. All right. Um, I want to first of all apologize for the multiple invites. I realized that every time that I created a meeting, I had some sort of typo. So I had the time wrong, then I had the date wrong, or I don't know. I had two things wrong, the time and something else, and I had to cancel them both. But you're all here, so you received the correct meeting link, and the public has the same meeting link. So anyways, uh, review of the previous meeting's minutes. I don't know if,
I'm done.
okay,
I'm good.
okay,
And I wasn't here, so
okay. Well, then, do you want a time to read them, David, or do you want to?
I glanced at them. I can
Okay,
vote yes, just
okay.
based. Yeah.
All right, perfect then. So if there's no questions, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I move that we do that.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. Bonnie, can you call a roll call, please?
Sure. Richard Persaletti,
Yes.
Molly Hale,
Yes.
David Lukens,
Wasn't at the meeting, but read the minutes.
okay. Richard Parrish.
Yes.
All right, thank you. The motion carries. So Chair, I don't have a lot to report. Other than I do apologize for canceling the last meeting. This time of the year, it's really difficult with all the events going on with Memorial Day, and everything else. And the way that the weeks fell, Memorial Day week is pretty much the whole push to get all the municipal cemeteries ready. So there was a lot of hours put in to get that accomplished. So I appreciate your patience. Tree warden report. There are no public shade tree hearings scheduled. We have had a couple of requests for work to be done, pole replacements by National Grid, et cetera, but the trees that have been interfering with those replacement poles have been private. So we haven't had any public shade tree hearings. One thing I will mention is that I received an email with an attachment from residents who are requesting that the trees that are on Main Street, Northampton, downtown Northampton, that are going to be removed as part of the Main Street for everyone, or Main Street renovation or project. They requested that all those trees that are slated to be removed receive public shade tree hearings. So I responded to them all and to the residents, or the resident that sent me the email, and stated that is the case. That will happen at the due time. And then any other questions they have to go to the project manager, which is Carolyn. Carolyn Mish is the project manager. So um, when the time comes, once the design plans are completed and there's a tentative start date, then we will proceed using MGL 87 as required.
Can I
So
ask a question about that?
absolutely.
What, so what's the process like normally at those hearings, it's probably there's not a lot of objection and it's necessary because the tree's dying or whatever, but what if there is a lot of public outcry about it? What actually would happen?
So if there's any objections lodged, basically my hands are tied because MGL 87 has a provision that when there's an objection lodged before or at the public shade tree hearing, that the proper officer or officers, and in our case would be the mayor, but in the case of let's say Williamsburg would be the select board, they are the ones, the sole decision rests with that particular set of officers.
Ah, okay,
So
thank you.
that so that this group really has no say on what trees removed, what trees will be planted in that project?
You mean the Urban Forestry Commission?
Well, yeah, either us or you as tree ward.
No, the tree warden has the final say as to what's planted according to MGL 87.
Okay.
So that's how MGL 87 is written. The tree warden is basically responsible for uh tree planting and is really the only one that can approve the tree planting. But I've been working with Tool Design
Okay.
over the planting sites they've had and the species choices they have, which are sort in line with the species choices we have. But
Mhm.
there's going to be a bunch of fine tuning when that happens because I don't know what species will be available at the particular time of the year. So, but yeah, the tree warden, the MGL 87 is pretty specific. So, and I would imagine that there's folks that don't that have difficulty with the Main Street redesign and the way that it's put together, and they have every right to voice their opinion about that. And I'm sure at the public shade tree hearing there'll be some spirited conversations over it, and we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Any other questions? Comments? Okay. Um, I don't have anything else to report. Um, Kent, did you get the flyers and the door hangers?
Did,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, perfect. I didn't forgot to ask you that on the phone the other day. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I haven't distributed anymore, but I did
Okay.
get them.
All right. Okay. Let's skip to our next item is the summer meeting schedule. So I'm not sure. Typically, in years past, we have met only once a month. And I was unsure of people's schedules. And I'm just looking at the month of July. July meeting would be July 2nd.
Okay. Make that.
Okay, and then our August meeting would be the 6th, August 6th.
Yes, I'm happy with July. I am gone in August, if that matters.
Okay. Well, it does matter. Are you gone for the whole month, Rich, or just for that?
Well, for several weeks, yes, including first half of August.
Okay.
Yeah, my calendar is similar to Rich's.
Okay.
July date works, but I'll be unavailable in August.
Okay. Molly?
The dates both work out for me. I'm going to be away 3 weeks in July, but it's between those two dates.
Okay, so Molly's good. Rich P. Jr. is good. Kent. How
For
about
August, either of those dates works for me.
okay, so Kent is good. Okay, and then David is July only. Okay. And Rich Parrish the same. So what I'll do is I'll send an email out to the whole commission.
So you're sticking with Wednesday, the 6th of August for the
Yes.
August meeting
Yes.
and no meeting on the 20th.
No.
Okay.
Would
No.
it be possible to change? Are we allowed to change our meeting date to a different day, a different week of the month?
Yep, we are. We can.
I'm wondering about like Wednesday, July 30th. Does that work for Rich and David?
No.
No, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in upstate New York, so I
Mm.
likewise I'll be back for the first for the first week of August.
Hmm.
What I'll do is we have time to think about it. I'll send out an email with these two dates and just poll everyone. So Sue, um, and Jen can weigh in
Right.
as well. And then if we have to pick an alternative date so we can at least get one meeting a month in, we can
Mhm.
look at that just through email. That would be fine. Okay. All right. Spring planting and setback initiative. So Jen is not here to report out, but I can sort of speak to it a little bit, I suppose. I don't have a number as to how many trees we've planted so far, but we've planted quite a few. I don't know if we've reached 100. I don't think so. Probably more in the 60s, probably more in the 60s. But the planted 8 trees today, and then there'll be another, I think, 8 or 9 trees planted on Saturday, and then after that, I think we are going to stop.
Mm.
And I think it's mainly 2 reasons: weather and capacity. So, some of the trees at JFK School, the bare root trees, are going to have to probably be yanked, and we're going to
Oh,
have to go back and start the planting. Probably do some more bare root planting in the fall. Some of those trees just didn't leaf out. The tulip trees, very small. Some leafed out very small with very little bud
mm,
at the very tops. Very strange, but it's been a very strange spring. It's been very cold, very wet. But most of everything that's been planted has leafed out. That's been established. It's just these trees that are not established seem to be struggling.
mm.
And then you're aware probably that we had to replace, I think, 8 or 9 trees at St. Mary's Cemetery that actually died from desiccation.
Oh,
So we used the inventory that we have of London plane trees to replace what was missing.
are they were newly planted trees or old trees?
They were planted last fall,
Oh,
so they went through
bad.
the winter. It's a tough spot. I can see how desiccation could happen there just because it's constantly under full sun exposure and also full wind exposure. And the London plane trees, their bark is very sort of like tulip trees. It's very thin when they're young,
Yeah.
very fleshy. So,
Mm.
um, and I think we'll have probably a report from Jen probably in July, and Sue, which have both been working, and Rich Parrish have all been, and all the volunteers. I mean, everyone really. Um, any Anyone have any news on the setback initiative? I have seen a few setback requests. Matter of fact, Kent, there was someone who moved in at 180 State Street, the corner of State and Summer. They
Oh,
they
good.
actually sent a request in, and then they forwarded me they sent me an email separately. So I put them directly in contact with Jen and Sue to hopefully get some setback trees planted on that lot.
Great. Yeah, they did plant a few trees. They're
Yeah,
smaller ones, I think.
yeah. Let me
I
just.
forget.
uh, and then I had another request for trees planted on Sherman Avenue, which is the other street that runs parallel with Hubbard. So I think folks on Sherman Avenue are interested in having trees planted over there because we're now populating. So it's kind of catchy. So Jen sent an email to this resident and is going to meet with them individually at some point. But there was another setback request. Another interesting thing we had, if some of you remember, we planted trees on Warfield Place, and there was a resident that lived, I think, at the corner of Warfield, where it kind of bent, Noah Winter, and we planted trees there with his family. And so they moved to Ridgewood Terrace, and they're
Oh,
asking for trees at Ridgewood Terrace, so
oh,
right in David's neighborhood somewhere. 63, maybe.
Yeah, they're actually right across the street from me.
Okay, perfect. So they are looking for a red bud. So um we may not be able to do anything until the fall, but because I think most of the red buds we have are going to be used on Hubbard. So I mean there's definitely activity, which is good to see that the people have been hitting the request list.
hmm.
So I'm not sure if it's by word of mouth or by door hangers. 180 State Street. I don't know, Ken, if you hung anything over there?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
They actually, the developer planted a couple of trees, so I'm pleased but also surprised that they're asking for another. Couple questions. I wonder, did you get any requests from the downtown area, like Con Street area where David and I did do the hang the door knockers?
Let me open that let me open that drive. Hold on a second. Uh, shared with me. See if I can just find this quickly. Setback responses. Okay, so the most recent one. So starting in March, we had Liberty Street, Milton Street, Ridgewood Terrace, Jackson Street, 121 Pine, 211 Spring Grove, 24 Middle, 389 Bridge Road, 59 Fort Street, and 81 North Main Street.
Okay. So
And actually, 81 North Main Street is a planting location that Rob and I planted in the very beginning. Maybe Rich, I don't know if you were here for that, but we planted two black gums there, and I think the resident is saying that the other one, so they were both, those were containers. That was before we could get black gums in grow bags. They were in containers, and we planted, I think, 10 of them, and they all had a terrible set of girdling roots.
Oh,
But we had to replace one, and apparently the original one we planted in 2016 has died. So they're asking for that one. But so no, Kent, there's nothing from the Con Street area.
all right. And the other question, is anything happening with the Smith College Forester and the
No,
sites we haven't
no,
spent?
I have not had a chance to follow up with Ben, but I will do so.
Okay, I will keep asking you about it.
That's okay. No, it's my own fault. I will send him an email.
what's the deal with the Smith College Forester?
There's several sites, I mean, quite a few that were identified in your downtown survey that are on Smith College property.
That's what you're talking about. Yeah, for setbacks.
Setback sites, and
Hmm.
Rich has said that he would get in touch with the forester and discuss those and see if they're interested in getting some trees.
Right, right.
And that's sort of my neighborhood, so I'm interested in keeping on them until it happens.
Kent, do you have actual addresses handy,
Um,
those locations,
I
or
mean, I could get it to you, I'm sure.
okay?
Um,
Because I would like to provide him with at least the addresses. So if they're interested, maybe we can meet with him and just walk around.
yeah,
When you have a moment, I have a draft email sitting right here, so I will send that as soon as you give me
all right.
after the meeting. Um, any other questions, comments about the setback tree planting? Yes, Molly.
Well, it's not, I don't think it's setback. Um, well, I asked you about this in the text, but could you say more about the all the stakes that are along the bike path in Florence?
Yeah,
And
that's
what's the deal with that?
that is all National Grid property. So we technically, I don't think can provide, we cannot provide the trees to the locations under the auspices of MGL 87.
Well, then why were spikes put there? Stakes, I
Uh,
mean.
I believe that Tom, and I can't remember his last name. What is Tom's last name, Rich?
Bassett.
Bassett, thank you. Tom Bassett and Bob Haxby put a whole bunch of stakes in those locations. Uh,
Oh,
and I have actually, I called Tom today to try to get a hold of him to talk to him about it, to try to figure out, see who he's contacted National Grid. National Grid in the past has allowed us to plant trees, along the bikeway. It's been done on the bikeway that goes from Brown House parking lot to Veterans Field. It's been done on other parts of like the Nagel Walkway, which is actually the bikeway, which is the Nagel
Right.
Walkway is actually owned by the city.
Mm.
The rest of the bicycle paths are owned by National Grid in Northampton.
How far beyond the edge of the bike path does their right of way extend?
It varies, but it's probably it depends. Like where you live in Florence,
Yeah, those open areas, the open sunny areas in Florence.
yeah, they own everything there. We
Oh,
basically all we own, we just have an easement. So we have two easements. One is for the paved way and the other easement is for our utilities.
oh,
So the issue with planting trees there is that if National Grid wanted to do something, they have the right to come in and actually take everything down, and there's no public shade tree protections of any kind.
oh,
I do not believe National Grid would sign an agreement with us.
oh.
So they would basically say, we'll sign an agreement, but we're still going to cut the trees down when we need to cut them down to install some utility infrastructure. So that is the issue.
So they have like some power lines that are going underground under the bike path?
No, no. When the railroad ceased running in Florence and all the way to Williamsburg, someone in Mass Electric decided it would be good to purchase these um, old rail beds because they were thinking about doing some sort of transmission work
Oh,
in what a great corridor to use because it already exists. But it never came to fruition. And then in 1978, the city entertained with Mass Electric to put a bicycle path there, and we ended up with the first section of bike path that's named after Francis Ryan, the director of Public Works.
hmm.
And then it sort of spawned a movement that's obviously gone, it's gone all over New England, really, for a lot of abandoned rail lines.
Hmm.
Some communities own the rail lines, other communities don't. Our community doesn't, except the Nagel Walkway. And actually, the Park and Rec Commission actually is the managing entity of that section of the bike path.
So the park and rec mows along there, right?
Yes, yes, yeah. If we maintain it, because that's part of our responsibility with the easement.
Oh,
Yep. But we have a shared responsibility when it comes to doing tree work. Um, so I
hmm.
have to reach out to Tom, and I also just wanted to talk to him to sort of figure out who his contact was at National Grid and what sort of
Hmm.
conversations they have had and where it's led before we make a final decision about what to do with all the stakes.
Hmm. I wonder if there's any snowball's chance in hell that National Grid would ever consider donating their property to the city.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah,
I don't know the
yeah.
answer to that question. I don't know.
Okay. The other question I had was,
Sure.
are you still short on employees to, drive the trucks to water the trees?
No, I have Brooke and Abby are here. They're working. So, they will continue to do what they've done in the past when it gets hot like this. Maybe not right now because there's good ground moisture, but during the summer months, they split their time between doing maintaining Bridge Street Cemetery and doing tree work, watering trees, etc.
Hmm.
So we still have the two water trucks, the capability of the two water trucks going.
Okay, that's
Yep,
good.
yep.
Does that manage to cover all the trees that need to be watered?
It depends. Truthfully, it depends how hot and how long the
Mm,
drought's for.
right, right.
So
Yeah.
typically we would water trees that we planted this spring and all of last year, like immediately, and I'll just be monitoring that because we
Hmm.
ended up putting water bags right on top of the trees themselves where the tree diaper and filling the water bags.
Hmm.
That actually seems to be the best way to do it and just leave the diaper there. But I, yeah, I think the last time we had the drought last year, we watered trees going back as far as 2 years. And then the previous one before that, we were watering trees that were almost 3 years old.
Mm.
So once you sort of hit the 4 to 5 year mark, hopefully the trees have established enough fine roots and a
Mhm.
large enough root mat and deep enough that they can start to source their own water
Yeah,
and manage to not to lose their ability to sort of manage their water movement on a daily basis. Whereas young trees really struggle because they just don't have the tissue,
yeah, yeah.
leaf area, and their roots aren't big enough. So,
Mm.
but yeah.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Any other questions? Rich, I don't know if you want to chime in at all about the planting. I know you've been planting, but
Just, I've been in some of the Saturday plantings and, there's only been a couple of them really. But, it's gone well and, one, I guess we'll hit Hubbard this weekend. And we'll just hope for the best.
yeah. Yep. I think it's going to rain Saturday, but I don't know how hard. I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's like the new Saturday thing.
It's-
Mm.
Um, and it's sort of a short agenda because I didn't have any other business, so I didn't know if there was new business that folks wanted to bring up. Yes, sir.
Just wondering, what's the next step with the revised significant tree
Yeah.
ordinance?
Carolyn and I have to meet. We haven't had a chance to do so. We would like to meet and actually take the draft language. We have to double check to make sure that we have found all the references to the STO in the zoning ordinance. And Carolyn is a little better at that than I am because the zoning ordinance is huge. And then we need to schedule a meeting with the mayor. So I would anticipate we will probably, my goal would be to try to meet with the mayor after July, after the new fiscal year. Uh, Budget season is upon us and the mayor is extremely busy. So then that would be basically where it would be introduced in a resolution to the city council and then referred out from there.
Okay, thanks.
I will hopefully have an update for you at our next meeting. You're welcome.
Another question, are you satisfied with the level of budget that the city allots you for trees? Whether
Yeah.
it's for tree care, tree removal, tree purchase. So
I am satisfied. We have a large, I don't know, let's say, I think we spend roughly, we have up to $50,000 a year for tree planting alone out of our budget. But the budget that we have for or tree and landscape supplies is for all the contracts that we have for removals, emergency trimming, plant health care, and tree trimming. And there's seems to be enough funding in this upcoming budget as well. The funding has stayed the same. It hasn't changed.
okay.
So it's really more about our two things. One is our capacity for tree planting, and two, um, the actual planting sites. The planting sites the easy planting sites have been sort of
Mm.
utilized with nice tree plantings, and so it
Mhm.
just takes longer to cultivate newer locations and also cultivate more setback plantings because it's just more nuanced and it takes time and engagement. I've got to meet with Roy, the cemetery foreman, to talk about the other side that reminded me about the other side of St. Mary's Cemetery, where the overhead utility is. So,
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. You
yeah,
haven't heard back from him yet?
because of Memorial Day preparations and they're just as busy as
Mm.
I haven't had a chance to I just usually stop over there and find Roy and have a conversation.
Mm.
So, those are my to-do list, Rachel.
As
Yes,
you mentioned, we're kind of running out of places to plant besides setback plantings.
yes.
Would it be useful, for somebody like me or whoever to, do another sort of survey like I did for the quarter-mile radius? Just of like a bigger area, or just, you know, or can you just use the Davies tree survey to identify spots that have openings?
You can, but that unfortunately is, it's outdated, and I think we need to actually, that's one of the things I'd like to do is to do a new inventory. So whether we do it by volunteers or whether we hire Davy Resource to actually plug everything in, because don't forget our canopy has changed as well with the mature trees that have been removed.
Right.
The other thing too is that our Davy Resource does not include any of the schools. So
Mm,
where we've planted, the schools actually are a big component of that for the last 3 years.
mm.
So we would have to change our survey parameters, but we definitely could do it. And I mean, with the data that I have, and I have a clean set of data to give to Kent for the trees planted last year. That's been very helpful in identifying, well, at least showing where we've planted. But I think trying to find some nuanced spaces to plant now is a little more difficult, like I said, because the premium tree belt has been utilized.
Well, I mean, I know, like, for example, here on Oak Street, there's a few sites that could be good.
Yep.
And maybe I could, I don't know, look around and uh make
I,
note of places like that.
I'm not going to discourage you from doing that. It would be helpful if you, and typically if I find a place to plant a tree, I usually just send an email to Jen and Sue and they put it on their master list
Yeah.
that they have.
Uh,
Which
well,
is
Jen and I are supposed to be, I did that survey on Ryan Road last year,
yep.
and Jen hasn't had a chance to meet with me yet, but she wants to meet with me to, look at those sites. So there are a bunch
Okay.
of sites on Ryan Road.
Okay. Okay.
Some are setbacks and some are right away.
Okay. We had a resident on North Elm Street donate a London plane tree to be planted at the so once you go through the intersection coming from the hospital, right past the old funeral home, there's a white house right there. There was a very large sugar maple in their property that they had to have removed, and he wanted to plant a new tree in the tree belt. So they are planting I think it's a B&B London plane tree from Wansix. So
In front of their house, you mean?
yes, yep.
Uh-huh.
Because we couldn't plant there previously because the sugar maple was overhanging.
Ah,
So I mean, even in some people are pretty ingenious or pretty resourceful, let's say, when it comes to that, and they really love the canopy. And I also talked to him, and he said that he's waters the some of those trees on the street himself, even though they're
right.
mature, or so, which is like David Murphy, who's watered all the trees along North Elm Street going down to
Yeah.
high school.
Is
So
that the person you're talking about? Is it Tom Duffy?
no,
Okay.
no, no. So, but I mean, I don't think it would be a bad thing to try to figure out where we could plant more trees, but I think it just takes longer to cultivate it just because of the parameters I mentioned. Plus, the other thing too is people's time.
Right.
But
Well, I'm just saying, if I had time to do that, I could choose some streets that have sidewalks that haven't had trees planted on them and just make note of places where there's a big enough tree belt that things could be planted.
yep.
Also, whatever happened to we were gonna send letters to the owners of the downtown properties that had possible setback sites?
Yep, that letter's been sent off for review. So
Oh,
Okay,
I will follow up to find out where it's at. Anything else?
I have a question about the care of the recently planted JFK trees.
Yes.
Is DPW capable of watering those without parental volunteer assistance?
Yeah, yes. We're gonna end up putting water bags on everything that we have this year, and that's included.
Okay.
So yes, we'll take care of it. It's complicated because everything's so far away from the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very capable of that. So and then again, there's gonna be less trees now because we have to pull some of them out that are not just not gonna make it.
Oh, yeah, and my other question related to that. So if you're going to pull some trees and
Mhm.
replant, there was sort of a second phase of JFK that involved the trees just over the cemetery fence
Yep.
and the new trees after the renovation happens on the tennis courts. So I wonder if all that should be bundled together for some.
Well, I think we would end up thinking about doing something like that in the fall.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, Providing that the tennis court, so the tennis court renovation, after talking with the director of maintenance, I think the trees planted will be if you're actually looking at the school from Bridge Road, we originally proposed planting trees on the right-hand side of the tennis court, sort of like in an L-shaped.
Mhm.
Director of maintenance wants the trees planted on the left-hand side, which is there is going to be a large planting strip that buffers between the parking lot and the tennis courts, which now has some like junipers and some other not so, some plants that have been there since the school was renovated in the late 90s. They like to plant the trees there and not plant the trees near the tennis courts for debris issues. So we'll probably, David, once the tennis courts are done, they're actually demolishing them right now. When when they're done or when they are sort of roughed out, we should probably take a little walk over there to see what it looks like. And then determine if we have the capacity to plant the whole place in the fall, or do we want to do the same thing that we did this year, which is engage the Rotary Club or some other volunteer group to plant again the following spring the remainder of the trees in the back of JFK, and then this fall we could just replace the ones that died in the front. So if that makes sense.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? Any other comments? Going once, going twice. Kent, what time is your swearing in ceremony on Friday?
9:30.
Okay. At the clerk's office?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
You're gonna come and celebrate with me?
I might. I might.
Okay.
One other thing I forgot to mention is our Tree City USA ceremony is in Malden on the 18th. So I will be attending that to accept our award. That's the day before Juneteenth. That's a Wednesday, right?
How many cities in Massachusetts receive that?
The last count last year, I think it was either 93 or 96. So we haven't broken 100. But if you added the Tree Campus USA and Tree Line USA, they might be over 100. So Tree Campus USA is the same Tree City USA award, but it's for college campuses.
Hmm.
And then Tree Line USA is for a utility company that is following the protocols for tree replacement and care of trees, etc.
Hmm.
So typically it's been National Grid and Eversource both have run that award
Oh.
or have that standing. But yeah, I mean, I think the DCR's goal was to have 100 communities, but they're still working on it. And the thing that's kind of unfortunate is that there probably would have been more communities to have Tree City USA, but a lot of the newer communities that just started planting initiatives, like with Urban Forestry Fellows, et cetera, like Erica from Lynn, all that funding has been pulled back or it's not being released.
Mm-hmm.
So there is definitely going to be a different playing field this coming year. And then, and I'm not sure, we haven't really been told, and in my role as Mass Tree Wardens and Foresters, obviously I'm sort of abreast of the U.S. Forest Service funding. Our U.S. Forest Service liaison, Danielle Gift, who was the coordinator for the Northeast from Maine to New Jersey and as far as Pennsylvania, she resigned. So she is not working for the U.S. Forest Service any longer. So we are unsure about our state partners, meaning that DCR, what their funding level is, because they receive funding every year from the U.S. Forest Service for their own, like, greening of the gateway cities, for staffing, for summer seasonals, for watering. So and a lot of that funding that they receive also was flipped around and turned into grant money for communities. So they've been told that there is going to be a reduction in the grant, but they're not exactly sure what the reduction is. And there are outstanding grants that need to be funded that have been awarded, and they're unsure if those will be awarded or there'll be funding for those awards. So there's a lot of unfortunate things happening in the world of urban forestry and arboriculture in relation to that. So we're fortunate that we have funding built into our budget, unlike other communities that are just relying upon federal funds. So,
Yeah.
which is really sad. So I don't think the Tree City USA number will climb much in the next few years. Any other questions? All right. Do we want to adjourn the meeting early, or is there anything else before?
I'm ready to adjourn if there's nothing else.
So I have, Ken, you're gonna send me the addresses for those
Yep.
locations of Smith Properties, and then I'll plug that into the email I have drafted for Ben. I will send out a little email about the 2 dates, and just let me know your availability. I will get the water bags put on the trees. I will actually follow up to find out where the letter is at, and the STO, or Tree Protection Ordinance, actually, is it's going to be called now. Or TPO. Anything else? And Molly, you're going to sort of putter around, kind of fun, and find
Yeah,
some.
I might putter around a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, puttering around is fine. All good. So, all right. Could I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move to adjourn.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Second, and David. Okay, there is a motion to adjourn the meeting. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll be in touch. Bonnie, have a great rest of your evening, and thank you for recording everything.